Hello everyone and welcome back to One Full Theory. In this video we are going to be looking at AEW Week 2 in our fantasy booking series. Now if you're new to this series, what we are doing is taking the current AEW roster and we are going to be booking it as though it was 1997. As a very brief overview, on the Dynamite side, we're going to assign that to WCW, and we're going to have AEW Dynamite and all of AEW's championships there on that side. On the other side of things, we're going to book Ring of Honor Collision as though it was the WWF. In the first week of our fantasy booking, we basically set WrestleMania 13 on the Ring of Honor Collision side, so if you haven't, I really do encourage you to check that out. And we also talked about, in the first video we posted in this series, what exactly EWR is and how this text-based simulator booking works. So again, I encourage you to go back to the channel and check out that video if you haven't done so already. As for this week, week 2 in our series, and our third video in this series, we are going to be booking Dynamite, then we have the Dynamite 4th Anniversary Special, and then we have another episode of Ring of Honor Collision to book. So with all of that said, let's dive right into it. As you can see, we're now into October of 2023, so we're current in our timeline, just back a few weeks, and we're going to tick ahead and get ready to book. First up will be AEW Dynamite, the Dynamite just before the special, the TV special that's going to take place on TBS. As you can see in the EWR game, you do get these scenarios and incident reports that pop up. And we have Maria Kanellis here has been a bit disparaging on the radio, and we are going to suspend her for that. The WWE signed Kurt Angle, that's a big coup for them. It's really important that you do check your emails. Penta, who works for us, is also signed for Impact. Mr. Anderson, Sandman, Dalton Castle. Raw doing big ratings there with a 6.4. Again, this game was released in, I think, 2003, 2004, so the ratings for the TV is really inflated compared to what it would be in today's context. As you can see, NXT there getting a 6.4 as well on the USA Network. Okay, so it is Wednesday, and as Excalibur says, you know what that means. It is time for Dynamite. Now, as I said, the idea here is for Dynamite to really take on that WCW idea. The big features and the main players that you can see here on my notepad is that we've got CMFTR, so Punk, and then Cash and Dax basically playing our NWO role. And we're going to have Adam Page as DDP, Kenny Omega as Randy Savage, and you can see here just behind my EWR booking, I've got some of our main players listed. So keep that in mind as we go through our booking. Now, to reflect what really happened in AEW history, we are going to have Adam Copeland debut on this episode of Dynamite. They picked him up, which was a big coup there for Dynamite, and that's going to be our opening angle. So Adam Copeland is going to be introduced by a babyface, Chris Jericho. So we're going to see Adam Copeland debut here with Jericho. Beautiful. Kicking things off in the tag division. Now, really, we've got Big Bill and Wardlow here on a tear in the tag team division, but essentially they are going to be a little bit more singles focused. It's just that we're featuring them in tag team matches to get them over. So Wardlow and Big Bill against Hager and Woods. So a good amateur team there. So Wardlow, Big Bill against Jake Hager and against Josh Woods. Not a regular team, but I think those two would match up pretty well. So let's see how they go. We're going to have Wardlow get the win here over Josh Woods. And actually we're going to have them celebrate there because we want Wardlow starting to be a threat to that world title. Wardlow and Big Bill celebrate to get them over. Now, we always like starting hot on Nitro. So we got in there with our big stars. We're also going to hear from Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. who in our world have reformed a tag team. So Swerve and Our Glory. We're going to be looking for Tag Team Glory very soon. We're going to have them promote themselves in a tag team promo. We're also then going to feature our Cruiserweight. So the Luchadors are going to get a good match here. One of the things that they had about Nitro as well that I think could be really used for Dynamite and just wrestling in general is they had so much. I've actually condensed down what they would do in terms of matches and promos because there was just so much of it on Nitro. They packed and featured a lot of people. And obviously, they were only short matches, but it was enough that you always remember a Cruiserweight or a Lucha match being there on the show. So, I think they've got a good opportunity there to bring that back. So Bandito and Ortiz give you a good Lucha match. Doesn't need to be too crazy. Doesn't need to be, an insane amount of spots crammed into a 3 to 4 minute match. But I think Bandito would benefit from those sort of segments. Actually, he's a heel here, so we're not going to have him celebrate. Alright, our up-and-comers here. So we're going to have Sammy Guevara, a brash babyface, against that technical wizard in Zack Sabre Jr. And we're going to have Sammy catch him here for the win. Start getting Sammy some good wins here on TV, and Zack Sabre's not going to be none too pleased about that, and get a bit of heat after the match on Sammy. Put Sammy over. Okay, excellent. We like that. We're also going to give the stick to Jay Lethal. I think we've got a cohort of really strong workers here that could quite easily form what would have been the Four Horsemen. Chris Jericho taking on that Ric Flair role as the wily veteran, looking for support from other veterans like Adam Copeland, who's debuting on this show. But you've got those in-ring guns, really, in Jay Lethal and Jay White, that absolutely could carry that horseman mentality. And we are going to just have that be self-promotion. So Jay Lethal getting on the stick there. Excellent. He's definitely got the ability to carry that. And speaking of the other Jay, we're going to give Jay White just a good TV win here. Jay White over Nick. And again, we're featuring those really strong in-ring workers in fairly brief but feature matches. So we'll put Jay White over. Okay, Adam Page, really one of our top baby faces in the promotion. I think what they're doing with Adam Page in real life is a bit lackluster, to be honest. I like the premise that they have going with the lone cowboy and the angry young man, almost. But I sort of agree with Jim Cornette in a lot of ways in that Page is sort of presented a little bit feckless a lot of the times. Whereas if you look at him in that light of how DDP was presented on Nitro, yes, he was standalone, so the lone cowboy translates quite well, but he was getting regular wins on TV. He was the only one to stand up to large groups of heels and really not placate to any of those. So we're going to have Adam Page with a really good win here, and we're going to have him calling out and constantly berating the likes of Kenny Omega. So you can see we're going to do an angle here. One-on-one, we're going to trade some insults, and obviously given that these guys were the first AEW Tag Team Champions in real life, there will be plenty there for them to barb about. They have had a good rivalry, so that's going to be renewed here. Going to have this culminate in the special that we'll go through this week, and a no DQ match, which should be excellent. We're going to have the Babyface Guns making a charge for heel FTR's Tag Team Championship, so we're going to give them a good win in our final match of the night. So Austin and Colton Gunn. And I've forgotten their opponents. Let's just jump back into the notepad here. Against the Butcher and the Blade. Excellent. I think that'll be good. So Austin and Colton over the Butcher, and the Blade. Again, there's people here that I think they could be doing a lot more with. Oh, the Blade's not available for some reason. Okay, so that's a problem. So we need to give them another team. Let's go against... I'm going to have to jump back into our spreadsheet here and have a think. Possibly Ethan Page and... Ooh, very tricky. Because we want it to be a decent tag team. Let's go... I wonder if we can put Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky back together for this. Let's give that a go. Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And we're going to go Austin Gunn. Getting a win over Ethan Page. Excellent. Again, all we're really trying to do is get the Guns over as proper title contenders. And we're going to have CMFTR close the show. Excellent. All right, let's see how this goes. Excellent. So Adam Copeland's debut gets a really, really good response from the fans there with 91%, which we'll be hoping. We've invested a lot of money in Adam Copeland. He's getting paid a ridiculous amount. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. 68% for the tag. 64% for Swerve and Our Glory's promo. Be hoping for a little bit more there, because Swerve does have a really good level of charisma. 73 for Bandito and Ortiz, putting on a good match. That's good. Great match quality there. 69 for Guevara and Sabre. 72 for Lethal. 65 for Jay White's push. Hoping for a little bit more heat there between Omega and Page, but that's okay. Guns and Men of the Year, and then a really strong finish there with CMFTR, 95%. So we should get a decent average there. 74% for Dynamite. A strong build towards our TV special, which is going to be the next show that we book. Let's take a look here. A 459, not bad at all. MJF wants to be on that show. We've got him across on Collision at the moment. Zack Sabre not getting the response that he thought, so let's just have a look there, because he may be right. Upper mid-carder. You can see his morale. Oh, it didn't drop too much there, so that's okay, so we'll keep him in the mid-card. Alright, let's get to our TV special. So this, we're sort of playing a little bit, because this is going to take place of our Rampage spot on TBS. Let's take a look how this plays out on Friday. So we've only got 6 spots, and I did have a few more things that I wanted to do. So we'll have to cut some things out here. We need to keep those matches. We can cut Sabre and Dante. We can cut... So we'll probably have to cut that promo too, so that it's just matches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. As was the case with Nitro and WCW, they did often start really hot with the action, so we're going to have Rey Fenix taking on Metalik in what would be a pretty spectacular lucha match. And they get a decent amount of time here. I'm thinking, you know, it's about 15 minutes worth of action with Rey getting the win. Strong celebration after the fact. We want to be pushing Rey Fenix fairly long term as our lucha star. Okay, next we're going to give Lethal a win over Bandito. We had him promo on Dynamite, we had Bandito get that win, but Jay needs to be positioned above those cruiserweights. So Lethal gets the win over a heel luchador. And again is going to celebrate that win. Excellent. Okay. We're going to have the TNT title defended. So Roddy Strong against Jay White. And I think we're actually going to go... This is a TV special, so there would be fairly strict time limits. So this is probably a good opportunity to have a time limit draw, I think. Time limit draw. And both of these guys would probably show that respect afterwards, I think. Just being workhorses. So a handshake for those guys to put them both over. Broadway at the top of the hour. Because we have to get to our final 3 matches, which is FTR over the Guns. And we're going to have them win via some sort of nefarious means. A bit of cheating going on here. Let's go Dax and Cash over Austin and Colton Gunn. For the tag titles, and we're going to have Dax get the win here. And I'm thinking some sort of tag title shot. Putting FTR over. We want Wardlow and Big Bill getting another win over Swerve and Our Glory. And I think we've probably got an opportunity here to do something spectacular for the TV specials. We'd have Wardlow possibly end the match with something big on the big man, on Keith Lee. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Let's go Wardlow with a powerbomb on Keith Lee. I think that'd be pretty spectacular visually to end that match. Still putting Wardlow over. We've got a future contender for the world title there, so we'll keep him strong on TV and on the specials. And then our main event is going to be Adam Page and Kenny Omega in what is sure to be a barn burner. No DQ. And we're going to put Adam Page over in this match. Oh, no, that's not right. No championships here. Adam Page wins cleanly. All right, we're happy with that, so let's book that in and see how the response is. Phoenix and Meta League, crowd reaction wasn't great, but the actual in-ring execution was fantastic, so overall we did okay. 71, 77 overall, that's good. Really strong, look at that, 98% for match quality between Strong and White, so that's exactly what we want for that TNT Championship. And handshakes afterwards gets us to 82. 79% for FTR and the Guns. Again, great match quality there at 92%, so the special's working out really well. Wardlow and Big Bill get a decent reaction there, 71%. And our main event drops Omega down somewhat in overness, but hopefully we're raising up Adam Page with 80. So overall, we should get a decent card, 77% overall. Not bad at all for the anniversary special. Pretty happy with that. Let's have a look how it compares. 4.5. Some of our main players who haven't been regularly on the cards, looking for a bit more of a spotlight there. And we had some good matches according to Dean Malenko. Okay, and then the final card for this week's video is we're going to jump over to the Ring of Honor side, and I'll just show you back to our spreadsheet so you've got some of an idea of how I'm visioning this card being put together with the WWF comparisons to our Ring of Honor Collision roster. And we are at a stage here where we're going to have Bryan Danielson really turning heel and looking to align himself with Buddy Matthews and Brody King. King and Matthews are our tag team champions, but they're going to kick off this show facing each other for the Ring of Honor Television Championship, which is currently held by Brody King. And we've got that sort of tag team competition trying to prove who's better in this match. happening where it starts off as a friendly contest, but it sort of bubbles over into a brawl that can only really be stopped when Bryan Danielson's going to interject and try and talk sense into these two, show that they're stronger as a unit. And we're going to transition from what has been the House of Black into what I think we're going to call the House of the Dragon, led by Bryan Danielson. So King and Matthews are going to have a good match there, but we want Bryan Danielson to be the one to talk some sense into these guys and suggest that they form a team. And actually, I think we need to create that team now. So let's jump into our stable. House of the Dragon. And it's going to be led by Bryan Danielson. And we're going to include Buddy Matthews. And we're going to include Brody King. And we're going to have that stable debut here. I think that sits under the debut angles here on EWR. Yep. Singles debut, stable debut. And let's actually have them jump who are their main rivals at the moment, which is Jon Moxley. Now, the idea here to transition from real life into what we're booking in our 1997 stream was that Bryan Danielson came out and declared that he wanted nothing more to do with the Blackpool Combat Club, and this really put Jon Moxley offside. They've had a brutal match at the last pay-per-view, and yeah, that animosity is going to keep going here through the Ring of Honor side of the booking. We're going to give the Hardys a good win against Johnson and Moriarty. These are our veterans. Again, the Hardy Boys aren't being used as they should do in real life in AEW at the moment. They really do need to be just having short feature matches, but it's still, you know, it doesn't overexpose them, but it shows that they're legend status. They've got two real bona fide Hall of Famers here. So Jeff Hardy going to get the win here over Lee Johnson in a short match, but it gives the fans the Hardy Boys pop. So the Hardys get the win. Nice and easy. We're going to have Max Caster cut a promo here. Legendary raps. So we're going to have him go a little bit more. Let's have a look. Max Caster with a self-promoting promo. One of the great things about Caster as well, he doesn't really need someone to cut a promo on. It can be whatever's current and happening at that time. So Caster getting himself over. We're going to have a feature match here with Kota Ibushi taking on Takeshita. We're going to get Kota a win here on TV. This can be that hard-hitting Japanese style. Again, what I like that, one of the differences that they had back in the day between WCW and WWF was they were trying to feature different things. So WCW did have that really strong lucha style. And the WWF were going to try and do that lucha style, but in a different way. With the likes of, their stars from Japan, like Taka Michinoku, Sho Funaki. So Kota's going to get the win here. I'm going to put Kota Ibushi over. Excellent. So we're getting towards the end of our week here. Kota Ibushi. We're going to have a big angle between our number one contender and our world champion. So Eddie Kingston is going to attack Claudio and actually going to hospitalize him here. In some way, it'd be great if we could go for something to do with the eyes. Something violent that everyone can relate to. So Eddie Kingston and Claudio. Some sort of eye damage there. We're going to have the continuation of Juice Robinson and Adam Cole. This one, just a regular match. What we have done here, if you haven't watched previous videos, is we've actually paired Juice and Cole with their real-life wives. So Juice is going to win, but by DQ, because Britt Baker is going to get involved and cause the DQ. And we're going to have Tony Storm come in and try to even the odds, but fail against Britt Baker. So the four of them get a good featured amount of time here. Danielson and Moxley are going to go at each other. We've had the attack there. I might even change that and just make it Jon Moxley cutting this promo on Bryan Danielson, because otherwise he's in about 4 segments, and we don't want to overexpose. You do tend to get punished for that on the show in particular, on EWR in particular. If they're in more than 3 segments, then generally the overness will drop because the audience will tire of them, which is a nice feature. And we do have Danielson in our main event match, which is Ricky Starks defending his Pure Championship against Bryan Danielson. And again, we're actually gonna have Danielson win, but because of a Jon Moxley attack. So Jon Moxley by DQ through interference. Moxley continues the assault, but of course the title doesn't change hands, and we're looking to continue that feud. And how we're going to end the show to send the people home happy is just as Brody King and Buddy Matthews are going to make the save, the Hardy Boys will run them off, which is the tag run off here. So your end shot should be the Hardy Boys standing tall with Jon Moxley, while Bryan Danielson and Buddy Matthews and Brody King think twice about their actions. Was that everything we wanted on this card? Yes, it was. Okay, so we're pretty happy with that. Let's have a look how our third and final card of this week plays out with the fans. Oish. Not so great with the heel versus heel angle to start things. That's very low. But it bounce backs here. That's great. So the House of Dragon debuts and takes out Jon Moxley, 98%. I think that's our highest rated segment of the week. 66 for the Hardy Boys. Advancement match. Hoping for a little bit more out of Caster there, but that's okay. Claudio's angle does quite well. 78%. 88% match quality. So Juice and Cole doing really well in the ring, but possibly the people aren't buying it in terms of crowd reaction. We'll just have to check their disposition in terms of faces and heels to make sure that that's right. Strong delivery from Moxley on his promo. And the main event does quite well too. So our overall was 74%. Not bad at all. Let's see how they did in the ratings. 4.58. Not bad. Okay, so in terms of our public image, it's on a national level and up to 70%. Our finance is doing quite well. All right, let's have a quick jump into our meetings before we leave it for this week. We've got to update CM Punk's contract. We've got a few gimmicks that we need to work out, including the Jacksons. But other than that, oh, that's why the Blade wasn't in a broken leg. We'll have to figure that one out. Okay, so that was week 3. I actually really enjoyed that one. I think we're starting to lay the groundworks. I said in our first video, it does take a little bit of hot shotting in the first few weeks to really get back on track. But then, you know, throughout the year and years in the EWR simulator, it does work out really, really well most of the time, and as close to reality as you can get, the more enjoyment I tend to get out of the game. So I really hope you can join along. If you have enjoyed this content so far, then please make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. But the biggest thing that helps grow this channel and helps me being able to produce these videos is when you put your own ideas and thoughts and opinions into the comment section, and I can interact with you there. So let me know, what do you think of this split? Do you think that this is something that AEW could possibly look at? I've always wanted wrestling to return to that Attitude Era style of booking. A lot of people go back and forth because I think most people remember, or some people remember, the sort of lewd, possibly lewd and violent nature of the Attitude Era and that 1997 time frame. But, you know, I've heard people like Al Snow, who was there at the time, say, actually the Attitude Era wasn't about focusing on that sort of sophomore-ish approach. It was actually more sophisticated storytelling. And I think we could put that more sophisticated storytelling in a modern context. So Again, let me know what you think, and I would love to see you again at this time next week. So until then, this has been One Full Theory, where we smarten up and smack down.